I'm actually right next to the set of where Jurassic Park, King Kong or Kong of Skull Island, and Jumanji were filmed. Today, I'm just going to fly through and we're going to get this puppy put together. So kind of excited about it. Let's get right to it. If you'd like to follow the process of turning a block of wood like this into a guitar like this, then you've come to the right place. And if you would like to see me give this guitar away, click subscribe, hit the bell. Aged look that I wanted to go with satin with it. So I want to be somebody that would encourage you to be an encourager of others and make this world a better place, right? Welcome to Let's Build a Guitar, and if this is your first time watching, it's the perfect day for you to start watching. Thanks for checking us out and coming to see, because today we're going to go ahead and get this thing finished. Okay, so sometimes life just gets so real, and I think that I'm gonna do something and do it right and do it well. Funniest thing, I put 2 screws in here. One of my screws broke off in there. This is mahogany, it's brittle, and I don't want to just yank or pull it out or I will end up breaking this off up here. So I can't believe that screw head broke off in that. I've done this before. And funny thing was, I don't remember cranking on it or making it feel like it was having an issue. But I guess the thing that I want to say is this. Things like this always seem to happen and it slows you down, and you got to be careful how you deal with it. So I'll see what I can do here to work this out without damaging. Okay. Yep. Good. Got it. Not a problem. Everything's intact, but it gives your heart a little bit of an extra beat there. There are some really good reasons why I usually do this ahead of time, but I didn't. I should have. To make the path for my wiring to come from my neck pocket from up here. So just kind of shooting for, if I come up off of this corner and head up towards the center of what would be here. So I don't want to go too much this way at all, or I'll end up going right through the guitar. So I need to do what I can to go there. And I don't want to scratch anything up here. One thing not to forget, because I'm not putting any EMGs in here, I'm going to put those Filtertrons in here. And with Filtertrons, you're going to want to make sure that you've got your ground set up. So you want to ground the bridge. That's with a lot of pickups, is that you need a wire that's going to come up here that sits underneath the bridge, and essentially what happens then is you become the ground, so that when your hand is touching the strings and the strings are touching the bridge is touching the wires, and the wire is grounding the pickups and your pots. So I'm going to put that hole in next. Use the conductive shielding paint for the pickup cavities and for the electronics cavity in the back. Well, this was the first coat. Now I'll let it dry and I will give it 2 more coats. If this is something that's not familiar to you, why use shielding in the first place? This is the conductive shielding paint. It's a graphite base, and what the shielding does, whether it's this or like a copper foil that you can put in there, is it will help keep your pickups and your wiring from getting outside interference, whether that could be from a fluorescent light, or I've had it even where with the right combination of my guitar and an effects pedal that I click on something, and with the combination of it all of a sudden I've got a radio station. I'm sure some of you have had that before. So the conductive shielding helps to prevent from any outside noise and buzz. Now humbuckers, when you've got the humbuckers, instead of a single coil, you essentially had two single coils put together, in the way that they're wrapped, they kind of cancel each other out. That when the humbucker was invented, that really cut down on a lot of the extra noise that you would get with a single coil. But this is another step beyond that in helping to prevent outside interference and noise, buzz in your sound. Now that I've got it mostly done, I just want to show you this heel back here. And when I was talking about overbuilding it and how I glued it, I screwed it, and then I put the dowels in it. My reasoning for it is that if I were to use the plate would be too wide. If I were to use ferrules, which are the round kind of washer looking thing that you use there, that would be too wide and would come out. But what I can do is I can just use a screw that's got a nice flat base on the head itself, and then I can glue it, I can screw it, and then I can just sand this all in so that it's pulled in nice to this. Man, if you just look at how this lines up with the neck, and I got that in there, it feels so good as you come up here, just so sleek. And you just can't do that if you've got the square neck plate on there, where you can do it like this. And you can do it with ferrules if you have a wider base here. So that's why I did that. And one of these days we're going to get to that other guitar that I had put together to see if we can get it apart at some point.
Life is a winding road, no telling where it goes. Driving through days and nights, won't stop for traffic lights. And I really wanna know if I will ever figure out where the road goes. Even if I'm falling down, I will keep on searching for my highs. You can say I lost my mind, I will keep on holding my head high, even if the sky is falling down. Jumping from cliffs so high, trusting our wings to fly. Sometimes we're crashing down, but we get up and start from the ground. And I really wanna know if I will ever figure out where the road goes. Even if I'm falling down, I will keep on searching for my highs.
Just a quick interjection here. I am going with the CTS 500s for my tone pot and my volume pot, and I am going with the 0.033 on the capacitors. It's not set up yet. I still need to, well, I actually need to put in the nut for it. This is just a temporary nut that I use to string things up. Those are the first sounds coming out of it. It's not intonated. I don't have the pole set, the pickup set. So anyway, yeah, a lot of adjusting to do yet, but I've got sound. It's wired up. I am getting so close to getting this finished. I'm working on the brass nut now. I've got to shave off just a little bit more on that brass nut. So I'm really careful on how much I take off of there, but I'm liking the sound of the pickups. They sound really good. I can get a really nice warm sound out of it, playing the same thing that was well here, full tone. Roll back some of the tone. I haven't intonated it yet. I still have some setup to do. I think I'm going to tighten the truss rod just a little bit, and I need to take a little bit off of this nut yet before I finish the nut and polish that up. It's going to be about time to give this thing away, which I am excited about, and I hope that the person that I give it to is going to really like it. This was a prototype, so there were some challenges that I faced that I learned from the mistakes, okay? So one of those things I talked about in another part of a video was the fact that using mahogany, using plain maple, using bird's eye maple, and it's a little bit like working with spalted wood in that the mahogany is a softer wood than what this is. So the more you sand, the more mahogany disappears before the maple disappears. But if I close my eyes and I go like this, I can feel just a littlest bit of a dip in there because of that. Now you really can't see it. I look at it and I don't see it. It's not something that you see. I think maybe if I would have used a glossy finish, you might have been able to see that. But if I go like this, I can feel it. For those of you who don't worry about things like that, it doesn't mean anything to you. For you, that if you are a luthier, you know how much that will drive you nuts, right? To be able to feel and to feel a little bit of a ripple right in here. And the problem is, you don't sand it out. The more you sand, the worse it gets. So you just got to kind of know how to make your cut the best you can with that router the first time, and then just sand it lightly or sand this more than you sand here. You got to kind of figure that out. So lesson learned there. I really do like my heel. Now that you can see what I was doing there, why I glued it, screwed it, put the dowels in just to get that nice smooth feel as you come up. I really do like that. So I think I will stick with this on the next one. I love the way the finish turned out. That blue and red with the kind of that, I call it a Union Jack burst with an age, so it makes it look like an aged, because I used a little bit of an amber on it as well. And that kind of aged it to make it look like an old flag. So I like that. Still need to put the back plate on. Well, I gotta get these cords zip tied and cleaned up there a little bit, but it looks pretty decent. I now have the nut fitted to the right size. I still need to finish shaping it and polishing it, getting that looking all good. I like using the brass nut for the sustain and the brilliance that it brings to it. And I do believe I've got it intonated. One of the ways that I check for intonation is pretty much if I can get, if my E chord sounds right where I've got some open and some closed down there playing that E chord up high. If that sounds right, well then that kind of, if it doesn't, if you play an E chord here, it sounds good, and then you play it here, it sounds wrong, then you're not intonated. So that just helps anyway. All the glue is for is just to hold that nut in place when you're taking the strings off. Because otherwise, once you get it in place, it can just stay there and it will be held there with the strings. So I'll go ahead and get this put on, and then I can put back my truss rod cover. And then I just need to do the back plate, and I think we're done. Now the only thing left to do is figure out who is going to get this guitar. Now if I could just get away from it all for a little bit, clear my head to think, if I could just go off. Well, this might be a little bit better place to think than in my basement. I'm actually right next to the set of where Jurassic Park, King Kong or Kong of Skull Island, and Jumanji were filmed. I'm actually at the Kualoa Beach Park. Kualoa Ranch is just down the road, just a little bit. This is Hawaii, and today I get to check it out. Let's do some thinking. Let's figure out who we're going to give that guitar to. Had people nominated from overseas, one in Great Britain in particular, and one in Italy. And I've had people nominated down south. I've had people nominated that sounds like just really great guys and really deserve it, would bring them a lot of joy. So I'm just trying to figure those things out. What better place to try and figure that out than the great state of Hawaii on a motorcycle?